Well, good morning. I hope I'm audible. I hope so. Is there anyone here? And I hope I'm in the right place. Hello. Good morning. I had some sound issues just a moment ago, and I'm wondering whether it's a little crackly. I've been trying to resolve it. Good morning, Graham. Devon, the weather may be dull, but Devon is glorious. So let me know if the sound sounds a little scratchy. Yes, I don't know why that is. I can assure you that's not me. That's somehow the machinery involved. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe if I turn the gain down on the microphone a little. Sorry about the technicalities of this enterprise today. Slight crackle. Well, as long as it doesn't interfere too much with the experience of the talk. Paul and Judith, still a bit crackly. Graham, can you suggest anything? I've tried going out and coming back again. I've tried turning the computer on and off. Perhaps I should. I wonder if I can. Let me try the microphone settings. One, two, one, two. Well, that seems all right. So I think we just have technical issue. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are around the world, we're going to have to, I'm afraid, tolerate some of the crackliness. And perhaps I'll re-record this at another time when the technical issues have been resolved. Mute and unmute. Okay, well, let's go for that. Unmute. Testing 1, 2, 3. Am I still crackling? I think this is. Can hear you still okay-ish. Not happy. Not perfect. Good morning. Sorry, I'm just contending with some technical issues here because my microphone seems to be crackly a bit. Do you know what? I'm not a technical person, but I'll go ahead. Thank you. School of Philosophy and Economic Science. We'll begin. It's 8:31, so a little over. I'll carry on. So here we go. A few days ago, when I told some people that I was going to speak about the poet Rupert Brooke, and here he is, childhood, youth, and as a soldier. When I mentioned him, a curious sort of beatification came over their faces as their eyes gazed to some remembered feeling, like an old friend or beloved place. And this happened a few times. So what I thought I'd try to do is explore that Rupert Brooke feeling, not explain it or nail it, as they say, but to see if we too can savor something of it in our brief time together this morning, if only for a moment, whatever it is, allowing for the crackle of the sound. Now, many of us will know his famous poem, The Soldier, written during the early skirmishes of the First World War, at a time when the prospect for the young men of Brooke's generation of joining that war was very real. So this isn't fanciful. He means it, and its message is to those who might be left behind. And let's share that. If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. There shall be in that rich earth a richer dust concealed, a dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam, a body of England's, breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by sons of home. And think this heart all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less, gives somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter, her learnt of friends, and gentleness in hearts at peace, under an English heaven. Now, some say this romanticizes war, or that it's jingoistic or partisan, but when I first read it at school, as it happens, I just found it almost unbearably poignant, sad. You can form your own view, but when he writes of England, he's writing of his youth, of the land that nurtured him, its ancient groves and rivers, its unique sense of light. As every place has a unique sense of the sun, it might be beautiful everywhere, but it's not the same everywhere. And the country that gave him life was England, and its qualities are qualities I can see through my window just there. And if the best qualities are sometimes obscured, it doesn't mean they've gone away. And I think that wherever we are, in whatever country we live, whatever its current state of play, its tarnished history perhaps, and present problems, we know what it most profoundly is. Otherwise, we wouldn't care. Brooke was well-traveled. He spent time in Germany, America, Canada, the South Seas, and when the war broke out, he wrote about a young man, a cipher for himself, who cannot bring himself to hate what he knows of Germany, or renounce his friends or happy memories, but he also feels that he has to offer his services to protect the land of his birth. In this sense, partial and impartial, global and national are not contradictions, but an integral part of the experience of each. Just as in so many of his poems there exists an equilibrium or tension between the transient, what he calls the woven flow of change, and that which never changes, an underlying permanence. In the poem we just looked at, The Soldier, he speaks of a pulse in the eternal mind, and there it is, the individual, the pulse, the universal, the eternal mind. He wasn't a religious man in any formal sense, but he explored this territory through poetry in so many aspects of his life, his childhood, his travels, those he loved, those he lost, and sudden moments in time, as we'll see when time stands still. This one, this poem here, is from the old vicarage. It's just an excerpt. Grantchester. He's writing in 1912 from a sickbed in Berlin. I think it's lovely. Oh, there the chestnuts summer through, beside the river, make for you a tunnel of green gloom, and sleep deeply above, and green and deep the stream mysterious glides beneath, green as a dream and deep as death. And I just think it puts us there in that moment on a summer's day, both long ago and now and always, on an English river floating under the boughs of ancient trees. And you can read that at leisure. It's the old vicarage in Grantchester. I'm aware at this point that I haven't said much about the circumstances of his life. So briefly, and for the record, he was born in Rugby. He went to Rugby School, where his father was a housemaster. From there to Cambridge University, where he had a great time by all accounts. He was president of the Fabian Society, so concerned with social justice. He founded a drama society and performed in plays. He made friends with literary-minded people, went skinny dipping with Virginia Woolf, and later became a part of the Bloomsbury group, which is Woolf, Sackville, Best, Lytton, Strachey, and the rest, with whom he then spectacularly fell out. He found another set of poets in Gloucestershire, which included Robert Frost, no less, so it was quite a set. Some found his good looks more interesting than his poetry, and there's no doubt that alongside his love of life, he suffered a melancholy disposition. But perhaps that's just an aspect of this tension, this dichotomy. He couldn't write a love poem without wondering how they would meet again after death. Now, I would love to spend the rest of this talk discussing how he matured and developed, how the accolades flowed in, how maybe he had some difficult times, which led nevertheless to his best work, but he died at the tender age of 27 in the armed forces on a ship heading for the Battle of Gallipoli, succumbing to blood poisoning from a mosquito bite. He's buried on the Greek island of Skyros, a fittingly Byronic place to, as Brooke himself put it, dance as dust before the sun. I'll finish with a poem which I think catches unambiguously that sense of permanence in the impermanent, the immortal in the woven flow of change, because this, I think, is the essence of that feeling of a supremely personal poetry written for all of us that deals with some of the unreconcilable paradoxes of our individual existence. It's called Dining Room Tea. I'm sure many of you know it. It's quite long, but I don't feel that I have the right to abridge it. So here it is, complete. When you were there, and you, happiness crowned the night. I too, laughing and looking one of all, I watched the quivering lamplight fall on plate and flowers and pouring tea and cup and cloth, and they and we flung all the dancing moments by with jest and glitter, lip and eye, flashed on the glory, shone and cried, improvident, unmemoried. And fitfully and like a flame, the light of laughter went and came, proud in their careless transience moved, the changing faces that I loved. Till suddenly and otherwhence, I looked upon your innocence, for lifted clear and still and strange from the dark woven flow of change, under a vast and starless sky, I saw the immortal moment lie. One instant I an instant knew, as God knows all, and it and you, I above time, O blind, could see in witless immortality. I saw the marble cup, the tea hung on the air, an amber stream. I saw the fire's unglittering gleam, the painted flame, the frozen smoke. No more the flooding lamplight broke on flying eyes and lips and hair, but slept unbroken there, on stiller flesh and body breathless, and lips and laughter stayed and deathless, and words on which no silence grew. Light was more alive than you. For suddenly and otherwhence I looked on your magnificence. I saw the stillness and the light, and you, august, immortal, white, holy and strange, and every glint, posture and jest and thought and tint, freed from the mask of transiency, triumphant in eternity, emote, immortal. Dazed at length, human eyes grew, mortal strength wearied, and time began to creep. Change closed about me like a sleep. Light glinted on the eyes I loved. The cup was filled, the bodies moved. The drifting petal came to ground. The laughter chimed its perfect round. The broken syllable was ended. And I, so certain and so friended, how could I cloud or how distress the heaven of your unconsciousness, or shake at times sufficient spell, stammering of lights unutterable, the eternal holiness of you, the timeless end you never knew, the peace that lay, the light that shone, you never knew that I had gone 1,000,000 miles away and stayed 1,000,000 years. The laughter played unbroken round me, and the jest flashed on, and we that knew the best down wonderful hours grew happier yet. I sang at heart and talked and eat and lived from laugh to laugh, I too, when you were there, and you, and you. How lovely is that? And if you want to know more about Rupert Brooke's poetry, you'll find everything in there, all his concerns, all his questions, all his experiences, held in that most magnificent verse. I'll leave it there. Thank you. Sorry about the crackle. Philosophy Live is here every Friday morning. Thank you for your company. Have a very good day and an excellent weekend. Cheerio. That's the end of the recording and the presentation. But thank you, Graham, for being here. And everybody, I know I'm fussing about the technology, but I really do hope it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? I mean, all of his poetry. And I've commented to you, there's a poem here called Dust, which is, I think, one of the most fetching, most moving and profound love poems in the English language. And I kind of alluded to it earlier when he was speaking of his beloved and what will happen sort of when the body has fallen. So, yeah, enjoy. Anyway, have a lovely day, a good weekend, and I'll see you again.